Okay, let's get started. So hi, everyone, and my name is Rafi Shulman. I'm the co-founder of Olim Advisors. It's a pleasure to have you here. I just want to take a moment and welcome the other moderators who are joining me tonight. We have Risa Shapiro, who works with me here at Olim Advisors. Hi, Risa.
Hi.
Then we have Dion Carrera, who's the owner of Isra Prop Realty. Hi, Dion.
Hi, everybody.
Then Asher Fetterman, who's a resident of Netanya, and Julie Handelman and Susan Cohen, who are residents as well. Thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. What I want to do just before we get started is just go over three quick things just for everyone to be aware of. The first thing is that we are going to be doing a Q&A session at the end. So if you have any questions, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box or the chat box, and we'll try to get to as many people as possible. You know, we have over 130 people who have registered for tonight's webinar, which is awesome, which is great. But the reality is we're not going to be able to get to everybody's questions. So, you know, put them in there and we'll try to get to as many people as possible. We're also going to include our contact information at the end of the webinar, and we encourage you, we invite you to reach out to us because we know that everyone has their own situation, their questions, their concerns, their financial restrictions, and so we want to be able to really understand those and be able to guide you in a way that's very relevant to you. So we want you to reach out to us, and we'll also try and connect with you over the next few days. Let's have those one-on-one conversations and figure out how we can help you. The other thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be recording the webinar. So if you come late or if you need to leave early, don't worry about it. We've got your back. We'll send you out an email within the next day or so you can watch it at your own convenience. And also you can share it. You know, there are a lot of people who weren't able to join us tonight for different reasons. And so we really want to encourage you to share with other people. Our goal really is to help as many people as possible. So the more people watch this, the merrier. Okay, so let's get started. I want to take you back in time for a moment, back to 2016, when my partner and I started Olim Advisors. Really what we set out to do is really two things. The first thing is we wanted to encourage and help people from around the world to make Aliyah. A lot of the people that we've spoken to have been thinking about it and dreaming about it, and they're just not quite sure how to go about it. They're not quite sure what to do. There are a lot of big decisions that people have to make, from finding the right community, finding the right schools if they have kids, finding a home, whether it's renting or buying a home beforehand, you know, what you should ship, what you shouldn't ship. So there's a lot of things that, you know, that people have to decide beforehand, and we're here to help them. The second part is as important, or maybe even more importantly, which is not just to get people here, but to really help them adjust and to help them lead a very happy, a very fulfilling life in Israel. And for those of you who have made Aliyah over the years, it's not easy. It's a different culture, it's a different language, different way of doing things. And so we really want to be there for you. We want to advocate for you. We want to support you in any way that we can. And that's why we also expanded into real estate about a year and a half ago, because we recognize that having a home in Israel is probably the most important part of your aliyah. Whether you're buying, whether you're renting, you need to have a home in the right community. You want to have, you know, a home in the right neighborhood. And what we had seen, unfortunately, is a lot of people were making the wrong decisions, you know, whether somebody was taking advantage of them because they didn't know better, or because they just, you know, they didn't really know the lay of the land. And so we said, look, let's try and put an end to this. Let's really try and take the same approach that we have for people who are making Aliyah to real estate. And what I mean by that really is two things. The first thing is that we guide people through the process. So really we hold their hand from, you know, having to decide which community to move to or which community to invest, because we do also help foreign investors who want to invest in Israel. So we help them, you know, with that part of the process, all the way through, you know, closing of the transaction. And I think the other part that really is valuable is that we work with an amazing network of professionals who have been doing this for years. And these are people that we've handpicked who really understand the needs that people have, understand, you know, the level of service that you expect and that you deserve. And they're really here to help us take advantage of all the opportunities, and to help you take advantage of all the opportunities that exist in Israel. So that's really the goal, the purpose of the webinar, and we'll get to a lot more really useful information in a moment. The first thing I want to talk about is the factors that people should consider before they move to a new community. So whether it's people who are making Aliyah or people that live in Israel already and they're looking to move to another community. And this is, for me, more or less kind of in the rank of priorities, from the most important to the least important. And of course, there's many more factors that go into it, but these are the main ones. The first one is affordability, right? And so that's something that people need to recognize, because a lot of people would love to live 5 minutes from the Kotel in Yerushalayim, but you know what? You need to have a lot of money to do that. Or people want to live in Netanya and Iramim, you need to be able to have the budget for that as well. And so it's really important to understand the costs. And of course, there's a range, right? Every city, every community has a range, but you want to make sure that you understand the general cost of each community so that you can narrow it down accordingly. The next thing to think about is what I call the personality of the community, right? It's do you want to live in a religious community? Do you want to live in a secular community? Do you want to live in a community that has mixed, and that's the beauty. There's so many cities and communities that do have that, and that's one of the amazing things about living in Israel. Do you want a large Anglo bubble, as we call it, like Ra'anana, Ramat Bet Shemesh, Modi'in, and Netanya? Or maybe you want to live in a city like Rehovot or Rishon that have more of an Israeli mix. What kind of weather do you want? A lot of people now are looking at Beersheba in the south, and for them, they like the warm, dry weather. Or do you want to live near the beach where it's more humid? Maybe that doesn't bother you. Or up north where it's a little cooler and you have a lot of options. So those are things to really consider. And what I tell people is to kind of close your eyes for a moment and think about what you see when you walk out of your home. Is it a urban setting? Is it more of a suburbia? Is it in the mountains? Is it by the beach? I think that's something that really will help you narrow down the choices and help you in the search. The next thing is really important for families who have kids in schools. And for a lot of people, schools is actually number 2 behind affordability, because, people have their own preferences when it comes to schools. And if a community that you're interested in doesn't have the schools that are suitable for your kids, then it doesn't make sense. Now, keep in mind, a lot of people do bus kids to schools. So you don't have to have a specific school in your community, but it is something that you definitely want to take into account. The other thing is, the proximity to shuls, if that's important to you, the community life, cultural, what kind of arts and cinemas and, all these different activities, sports, if you're into that, social activities, that's one of the amazing things that we're seeing, is that a lot of people are coming here to retire. And it's not like they're coming here to retire at the age of 80, 85. They're coming here and they're 70, 75, and they still have many years ahead of them. And they want to be active. They want to volunteer. They want to enjoy life. They want to meet. And so having these options is really important. Now, some people don't want that. And some people want to be in a more smaller community, more remote community. That's fine too. It's just something to keep in mind. The other thing is employment opportunities. And this has changed, of course, during Corona and now as more people are working remotely, which is great because it opens up the options. A few years ago, you couldn't, if you wanted to work in the Merkaz, in the middle of Israel, you couldn't go up to Nahariya or down to Beersheba or to Ashkelon. But now you can. Many companies now allow you for remote working. So it does open up, but then you have to think about the commute as well. And that really ties into public transportation. As you might have heard, Israel kind of fell asleep at the wheel, so to speak, over the past 20, 30 years and really didn't do much to develop the public transportation. But now, over the past few years, things have changed a lot. There's a 20-minute train ride from Modi'in to Yerushalayim. There's more trains available. They're building the infrastructure. And so for a lot of people, that really is a key thing, especially if they're commuting. They want to be able to hop on a train and get to work. So trains, buses, those things are really important. And then the last thing is proximity to family. Now, for some people, they want to be really close to the family. To other people, they want to be very, very far from the family, So it really depends on your personal situation, but especially if you're making Aliyah, or even if you move into a new community, having family, having friends to help you, to spend time with, is really important. So, this is just a little bit of a kind of scratching the surface, just some ideas, some suggestions, some, pieces of advice that we share with people. Some of it might be relevant. And of course, there are other things as well. And this is where, we'd be happy to talk to you and really understand your needs and give you some advice. So that's what I wanted to share with you. What I'd like to do now is really turn it over to the wonderful people who have joined us tonight to talk about the lifestyle in Netanya, because they're going to give you the inside scoop. And so, Risa, why don't you start, and let's focus on really talking about the social aspect of it, talking about it from a religious point of view, really talking about the lifestyle and why you moved actually from Yerushalayim to Netanya to Yerushalayim recently.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. I have been living had been living in Jerusalem for 19 years, raised my family there, and pushing the 60 mark. And some people are semi-retired or retired much younger in my community of Ir Yamim. I chose to move to Ir Yamim for a lot of reasons. It's a different pace. First of all, I want to say I love Jerusalem, but I felt the need for a change, fresh new start. And so the pace is very different. It's a seaside resort in a sense, but it's really a city with beautiful, beautiful amenities. I'll tell you what most impresses me, and I'm not there a long time, but it's very obvious. The huge change. When I was living in Jerusalem, it's a big city with many factions, of course, in different neighborhoods, but and you feel it. You feel like different neighborhoods and what is, as we say, mikubal, what is acceptable in different neighborhoods. Though there are blends in certain communities. However, in Netanya, it's a small community by comparison to Jerusalem. And mind you, Netanya itself is a big town, but I'm talking about Ir Yamim, where I live. Everything goes, all different types of people, all different ages, very accepting, extremely warm. I've lived in a lot of communities. I lived in Passaic for 25 years, and I lived in Teaneck. I lived in Jerusalem. Different parts of Jerusalem, and I'm very impressed with the warmth, accepting each other, a lot of social interaction, clubs and get-togethers, sing-alongs, and shul things, and shiurim, and women, men, age difference. I just don't feel like anyone is looking at me or judging me. Everyone's very accepting and giving. The first day, I needed a ladder, and we have a very active WhatsApp chat. And then within 5 minutes, I posted it, and I had 3 ladders. I didn't know what to do with them all. So, the town is extremely warm and welcoming. Every month, we have a coffee get-together to meet the new people. And it's growing. It's huge already. It's big and exploding, that we're trying to keep up with getting to know all the newcomers. Having said that, there's people that live there full time, and there's people that are snowbirds, people that are from abroad and come a certain number of months. There's people that are in the 50s and 60s, and there's people that, my best friend is 35 in my apartment house. So, everything goes, and I think that is very, very unusual. And it's just a very warm, inviting, vibrant. We have matan, we have classes in the shuls. We have a new Ashkenazi shul with an all English-speaking community, which some people want. Very warm and inviting.
Wonderful. Thank you, Risa. All right, Julie, you're up next.
Oh, so thank you for having me.
Thank you.
We had decided that we wanted to move to Israel a long time ago, but couldn't, because thank God we were looking after my mother in Los Angeles. I'm from England originally, but we've been living in LA for a very long time. We have 4 kids in America and 1 daughter here in IDC. So when we planned to come out here, we had no idea that we wanted to come to Netanya. We have a lot of family here. So for us, it was an issue of, gosh, there are so many choices. Like, where could we go? And when we came to look at Netanya, we did look at Ir Yamim originally and Poleg, and it's absolutely beautiful. But we decided to go to South Beach, which is basically, you have the Merkaz of Netanya, you have North Netanya, Then you have the center, which is the Merkaz. And then you have everything from there is south. So you have South Beach, which is all the way from us, all the way down to Iriamim. Then there's Iriamim and Poleg. So what's South Beach like? It's amazing. We're a 5-minute walk from the broad walk from the Tayelet. We have a lot of Anglos here. I am personally, because I do speak Hebrew and my husband's, Israeli, having lived in America for 40 years, we do go to a Hebrew-speaking shul that has a lot of Anglos, and I've reached out to them, got the board together and asked if we can, have an Anglo minion there, and they're completely for it. So we're working on that for the next, for the next few months. That will be starting. And the reason that I felt it was so important is because they're building a whole new area here called Park Hayam, which is beautiful high rises and the duplex. We live in a duplex, and it's all together. And the prices are just a lot less than Iriamim, which was one of the factors. It was one of the reasons we chose South Beach, but also we didn't want to be in all these, there's tons and tons of high rises over there. What I do want to say is, we are Shomer Shabbat, and it doesn't affect us. We are a 20-minute walk from the South Netanya Anglo Community Shul, which is absolutely incredible. Another 20 minutes to the north is the McDonald Shul, but we hopefully will have our own shul, over here as well. But it doesn't prohibit me from going into Iriamim or indeed any other part of Netanya, which is how I met my beautiful Risa, and just participating in a myriad of things. I'm, going to sculpture. We're knitting for the underprivileged. We are going to amazing lectures and theatre, and there is just no end of what to do here. Netanya is a dream. It really is a dream. The second we came here, we said, okay, this is it. So I'm very partial, and I'm just saying also that anyone can reach out to me personally if they have any personal, specific questions. I'm happy to help.
Amazing, thank you. Did any of your kids go through the schools in Netanya?
No, because we just moved here 6 months ago.
Oh, okay, so they were already out.
Yes, so my daughter went to seminary here in Netanya. There is Bet El Ezraki, which is a children's home, and now she is at Herzliya IDC.
Got it.
So I'm just hoping the rest of them show up at some point.
Bezrat Hashem.
Yeah.
Asher, I know that you have a couple of kids that are in the schools, so if you can talk about your lifestyle and also talk a little bit about the schools, I think that would be really helpful.
Absolutely. Good evening. My name is Rabbi Asher Fettman. I made Aliyah with my family 2.5 years ago back, coming from Singapore. I was community rabbi in Singapore, and our ideal place was Yerushalayim. And we arrived in Yerushalayim, and in a very nice place, a place called Arnona, Talpiot. And it's quite nice, I have to say. Then one child went to the yeshiva. He's 17 years old, Netiv Meir in Beit Vegan. And the other one, who was at that time 10 years old, he went to a small school, really a village, let's say a village school, but very nice, with 70% of English-speaking children, and they have 2 teachers for each class, one speaking Hebrew and one speaking English. So it was nice and easy for him because he didn't speak Hebrew at all. But kids at that age, it's very easy to adapt, very easy to learn, and that was quick. However, my wife is Vietnamese, and our dream here in Israel was a dream, so to say, was to open a Vietnamese restaurant. And the problem with Yerushalayim is there are too many Jews, meaning that if you want to have a special kashrut, you need to have for the Chabadnik, because they only eat their own meat, and you have to have for this one and this one. So it was quite difficult. And we understood that Netanya is 60%, let's say, French speaking, and the French, they like Vietnamese food. Then the second is the English speaking people with, I guess, 20 or I don't know, 30%. And then you have Russians who are getting more and more because of the Ukrainians coming in. But I don't want to make any politics tonight. It's a big mix and it's a nice mix. So regarding to schools, you have schools, let's say, almost every corner. And my small one is going, now he's 12 and he's finishing the 6th grade. And he walks to the school. So, and it's, you have secular school, you have very religious school, and then you have not so religious, meaning that you have boys and girls together. So you can really choose and adapt your lifestyle accordingly. My eldest is still going every morning with the train to Yerushalayim. He likes it somehow, and he got some friends. And in the yeshiva in Yerushalayim, it's one of the best yeshiva, but they opened an English-speaking section where all the English-speaking boys are. So it's easy for him as well to get along. Now he's 17. In 1 year, he's going to be in the army. So it's now between 17 and 18, it's the preparation. I am not afraid that he doesn't speak well Hebrew yet, because I'm told that in the army, they will teach him very quickly. Mm-hmm. So that's regarding school, regarding the kids. Regarding synagogues, Beit Midrashim, I have to say that Netanya is very well deserved. We have one in this city, we have one of the most shuls with towards population. It's a lot of synagogues, a lot of places, and you can choose. I'm very close to the Rav Rashi, to the chief rabbi of Netanya, and we are working on many projects together. So he was the one, or he is the one who paid a lot of attention for the kashrut in all the restaurants. So you have a very nice kashrut in 98% of the restaurants in Netanya. If you look into Tel Aviv, you have to look really a place where to eat kosher. So what else? Of course, Netanya, once you stay here for a few months, you know almost everybody and everybody knows you. So you have to be careful.
Yeah, I think one of the things with Netanya also for many years was recognizes that's where the French go. And from what I've seen and from what I understand, it's changed a lot. There's still a lot of French, but there's a lot of South Africans and Brits and Americans and Europeans besides French, and so it's become, I think, true, more of a multicultural city as well.
I love that. I love that it's all nationalities.
And that was one of the reasons we wanted to come here, was we wanted a soft landing, and we just felt it just really affords us that.
I can see as well in the shul, the problem in Israel, not only Netanya, is you have too many shuls, so you have to find where you fit. Mm-hmm. So I tried at least 4 or 5 shuls when I came here in Netanya, and I felt really fitting in one of them. And in this shul, and I don't want to make publicity, there are Swiss people, French people, English people, all kind of nationality, and Belgian people, Holland, Dutch people. It's quite a mix, and that's the beauty of that synagogue. And the synagogue is attracting a lot of people.
What area do you live in?
I'm living in Sderot Nitzah. Sderot Nitzah is along the seashore. Is one of the nicest area in town of Netanya. Before you spoke about Ir Yamim, Poleg, I saw many questions which I answered. These are different districts within Netanya. if you want to live downtown, this part where I live today, you have a lot of English community speaking people.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, Susan, last but not least. You just mute. I'm still on. Can you hit
Don't hear you.
Susan, can you hit the, you're in the mute button? Because we still can't hear you.
You spoke already.
There you go. You can
There
hear.
you go. Welcome.
Sorry, technical. Thank you so much for asking me to be part of this evening. My name is Susan. I made Aliyah almost 4 years ago, 4 years in April, from the United Kingdom. My discovery of Netanya is slightly different to everybody else's. I live also on Shloa HaMelech, which is the street behind Sderot Nitza. We've been living there since we landed. We live opposite a synagogue called Young Israel, which is, I suppose, by my standards, like davening in a United Synagogue in England, for anybody who knows of the United Synagogue system in England. But it's a multicultural synagogue. Like the rabbi was just saying, we have members from literally all over the world. And especially when the Chagim come or the summer holidays come, the whole dynamics change totally. My children already all live in Israel. They're all grown up, and thank God all 3 are married. I've got 2 in Ramat Beit Shemesh and 1 in Petach Tikva. As you were mentioning earlier on, Rafi, about the transport system, we can be direct on the train from Netanya to Ramat Beit Shemesh in just under an hour and a half. Fantastic train system. I mean, to go to Jerusalem, it's virtually direct these days. And it's also just like an hour and a half door to door. The train system is wonderful. So is the bus system. We ended up in Netanya by accident. How does one do that? So I'll explain. My parents decided that they wanted to make Aliyah. They wanted to live by the seaside. That was their lifetime dream, with an apartment overlooking the sea, and spend the rest of their retirement there. Fine, no problem. What was the condition of that? That we lived in the same city as them. Now, anybody who knows me, my husband will bear witness to this. The last time prior to us making Aliyah coming to Netanya, which we used to do quite regularly for a couple of days break, was, please don't ever ask me to live in Netanya. There's God's waiting room. Please, I don't want to go there. I can't imagine anything worse. We ended up in Netanya. Flying horses would not make me move. We absolutely love North Netanya. I pop occasionally to South Beach, to Ir Yamim, because that's where my dentist is. The medical system here is truly amazing. I mean, really, that's a whole discussion probably on itself. But the medical system in Israel is far superior to anything you'll ever find in the United Kingdom. But socially here in North Netanya, we slipped in. I was very lucky and fortunate. We came the year before COVID, and I managed to already build up my friendship circles. I have friends that come from Holland. I have friends that come from Singapore, because, Rabbi, I'm friendly with your wife. We have friends that come from America, from France, from literally all corners of the world. And the social life here is amazing. There's a very active AACI, which welcomes people of all ages. The age group is now slightly going down. They're encouraging to bring younger members in. But that offers all sorts of Olim, libraries, lectures. There's a fantastic woman there called Yanina, who is a counselor who helps you with all your paperwork, translation, and things of that nature. I can't comment on the school system here because my children are all married. Thank God we have grandchildren, and they have their children in the systems wherever they may live in Israel. But for leisure activities, there's theatre, there's a cinema, there's concerts. In the summer, the city is buzzing with activity put on by the area, and there's lots of free entertainment. You're right about the population of Netanya being majority, well, I would say French. I know that the Russian members are growing, and the Russians were here before the French, but there is a new development north of Netanya, which is being built now in the Blue Bay area. And there's, I don't know if the gentleman who's talked about property will mention that, but there's a big development going up there, which I believe a lot of French people have bought into. And there's going to be a piano, which is a shopping mall, which is similar to that of the one of Yamim, which I believe will be smaller over here. But we are really and truthfully, where we are is the most fantastic position. You're seafront, 2 minutes from the beach, kosher restaurants, fabulous lifestyle, age group. I don't know how old most of you are that are applying to this webinar. I was 58 when I made Aliyah. I must tell you that that age group is well catered for here. It's not what I thought it was, God's waiting room. It's totally the opposite. It's a vibrant, vibrant community that suits people of all ages and all religious levels. There is no judgment in this community at all. You can go to the Reform shul, you can go to the Orthodox shul, you could daven 5 minutes from my home in Kiryat Sands. Nobody but nobody judges you for your level. It's honestly the most wonderful community to come to. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Just one question before we move over to Dion. Risa, somebody was just asking here about Iriamim, and everyone's talked about it, and a lot of people might not be familiar with it. So can you just describe Iriamim in just a moment, where it's located and kind of what makes it different from?
So, okay. So also, I saw somebody commented on wheelchair accessibility. So I just read an article that called Iriamim. They're using Iriamim as the model city, in that they're calling it the 15-minute city. And you could Google that article. Basically, they're using it as a model to build other cities, that everything that you could possibly need is within a 15-minute radius, walking radius. So that's very significant. We didn't mention that we have a very big shopping area. It's called the Piano. It's built like as a horseshoe, I would say. In the middle of the horseshoe is like grassy area, big parks that run basically through the entire area. I mean, the down the middle of this horseshoe is a path, a big path, and gardens and fountains and everything that goes right to the beach. So everything's very level in terms of handicap accessibility. I mean, I came from Jerusalem with hills and broken sidewalks and no sidewalks and exists here. Everything is very modern. I think it's only 10 years. And so everything's built with ease in mind. And everything that you could possibly want is at your fingertips. We also have a very big mall for real serious shoppers, also within walking distance. We have the equivalent of a JCC within walking distance, with lots of cultural things and classes and such. So the look is, there are a lot of tall buildings, very tall buildings. They're built like on a diagonal, so even from different angles, you can still see the beach, which is incredible. And I guess the realtors will talk more about that. I almost have met no one that has come back of all ages, people that much older than me and much younger than me, that have expressed any dissatisfaction with their lifestyle because there's just everything is at your fingertips, all types and all possibilities.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay,
yes.
Dion, so I'll hand it over to you. Let me just flip through the slide, and if you want to take a moment to introduce yourself, and then we can go through some of the properties that you have identified here that people might be interested in.
Of course. So first of all, Rocky, thank you for the platform. I really do appreciate the opportunity. And to the other panelists, it's always wonderful as a real estate agent to hear the feedback coming in from people who have made Aliyah and how they've integrated into the actual communities themselves. Because at the end of the day, it gives purpose to what we're doing. And that is trying to introduce people that are making Aliyah or people that are investing, to various opportunities that are available throughout Israel. Now, before I get started, I just want to give an opportunity that has arisen in Israel. Over the last 2 years, as we all know, property prices in Israel have skyrocketed. Some cities' prices have increased by 40%. So a lot of folks that are sitting abroad are saying to themselves, well, Israel is just too expensive for me. We cannot afford it. On the one hand, I agree. Prices are at an all-time high. Having said that, there's a little bit of stagnation in the market at the moment. But looking forward, property prices in Israel are always going to be increasing. The amount of people that are coming into the country, the amount of investment that is coming into Israel, we're not producing enough properties, we're not producing enough apartments to cater for that. So the gap is getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and therefore prices in the long run will always continue to rise, no matter what sort of intervention comes in from the government, etc. Having said that, the last week has actually presented a fantastic opportunity. The shekel has actually weakened against most foreign currencies, the dollar, the euro, the pound as an example. Just to give a perfect example of that, we have a client who a month ago called us with a $1 million budget. I was showing her apartments around about the 3.1, 3.2 million mark because that is what $1 million gave her. Today, her $1 million is worth 3.7 million. So she now has an opportunity to buy something bigger at the same $1 million, or to buy the original 4-room apartment that she was looking at, would be paying around about the $850,000 mark. So there are always opportunities when, if you get into the market at the right time, under the right circumstances, properties are affordable in Israel, and we're specifically going to be talking about Netanya tonight, or today, depending on where you are. So I'm going to run you through a few opportunities just to give you an example. There are 2 different ways that somebody can purchase property in Israel. One of them is buying something what we call off-plan. These are projects that are either going to be built within the next 3-4 years, or that have just started, and the developers are selling pre-sale properties at pre-sale prices. This particular example over here is in the center of Netanya on Sishkin Street. This is what's considered second line to the beach. There's a row of buildings in front, and then this is one road up. Walking distance to the beach is probably 5 minutes. As you can see, there's a picture of what the building is going to look like. The entire front of the building is where the balconies are, and on the 2 wings on the side. Every balcony is got a sea view, and they are facing the ocean. And the majority of the apartments, at least 3 of the rooms, are also facing the sea. There are a variety of apartments here, 4 rooms up to 6 rooms. When you get property prices from a developer, property sizes, sorry, from a developer, they are talking net space. Just a quick description of net space and municipal space. A builder only focuses on the square meterage that he is actually selling you. The municipalities often add in the common areas, your lobbies, your garbage rooms. If it's an underground parking, they count it in as well. And then they divide it up by the amount of apartments, and they add that onto your square meterage so that they can charge you your rates and taxes. So this particular building on Osishkin, you've got 106 square meters up to 158 square meters. The 106 are the lower floors, the 158 are the penthouses. This particular building has got 4 elevators, 2 on each wing. There are 3 floors of underground parking. Obviously, they've all got a master bedroom. It's a brand new build. Some of the apartments, as you can see in the plan underneath the building, have got pools, and every one of them has got a storage room as well. In this particular project over here, you've got apartments that start from around about 3 million shekels, and you can go as high as 8.5 million shekels for the penthouses. So that's just an example of this particular project, which is in the center of Netanya, sorry. Polek, which is adjacent to Area Mim, also walking distance within 5 to 10 minutes, depending on which side you are, to the actual sea. This particular apartment is a second-hand apartment. It was built 15 years ago. It's a 4.5-room apartment, 106 square meters net.
Dion, I
And
just
a
sorry
small
to
little-
interject. I just want to mention the 4.5 or the rooms in Israel are calculated or described differently. So, you know, in Israel, when you say an apartment is 4 rooms, that's actually 3 bedrooms and then like the living room. So, for example, in the States and I think other countries as well, they're only focusing on bedrooms. So, whenever you see a number of rooms, take into account that that also includes the living room as one of the rooms.
Perfect, well put, thank you. So it has a small 9 square meter balcony as well. 2 of the windows have a sea view. There's an elevator in the building, a parking. This one is situated on the 2nd floor. Fully renovated, and in this particular instance, the apartment was also fully furnished. The furnishings that you see are being sold with the apartment as well. The asking price on this apartment was $3,180,000. And I'm actually quite happy to say that we sold this apartment at $3,160,000. So that is the pricing range that you're looking for in the Poleg area is round about the 3 million to the 3.5 million mark, just depending on the size of the apartment. So that gives you an idea of something in the Poleg area. There we go.
I would like to just say this, in the Poleg area, there's a very vibrant shul, exploding shul, the Young Israel Poleg.
Correct.
And many, I see many school children, so there must be a lot of schools around there too. And it's 5 minutes from Iriamim.
Yeah, it's literally across the road, and in actual fact, this particular apartment, which is on Airwood Manor Street, number 6, is literally 150 meters from the apartment that we just saw. So it's literally on the other side of the road. Size-wise, almost the same, 111 as opposed to 106. The difference here is it's got a much bigger balcony. The balconies here are 25 square meters. This particular apartment was on the 1st floor. If you look at the first 2 pictures, you'll see that it looks like the balcony is opening up onto a garden. It was also a relatively new build, which means that it's got parking spaces. Some of them are underground, some of them are above ground. It has its master bedroom. They're new or renovated, storage rooms and sea views. Apartments of this sort, which is in Iriamim, first line to the beach, you're literally adjacent to the Brigham Young apartments. You're looking at around 4 million to 4.5 million, just depending on floor. Now, some of you may be aware, some not, but in Israel, as you go up, each floor, you add on roughly about 30,000 shekels to the price. So first floor, you're looking at 4 million. If you had to go up to the 5th floor, you'd be looking at about 4,150,000. So that's the lower end of Iriamim.
I just want to say one more thing, that
Sure.
even if you're on the ground floor, I mean, I came from Jerusalem, so like if you're on the ground floor, you're hearing a lot of noise, but it's quiet and the view is so relaxing that it's not like even if you're on the 1st floor, you're not hearing like the congestion of a busy city. And it's the view is very relaxing and accommodates that.
So somebody did mention, one of the panelists did mention that Iriamim is developed so that there's an angle, almost every apartment is seeing the sea.
Yeah.
What they've also done is in between all of these high rises, they've basically built green spaces, and most of the balconies are either facing the sea or the sea and the green space, and that's what's creating that environment that you just described.
Exactly.
So for somebody who doesn't like noise, this is a good area to be. Now, another project in Iriamim is called the Reserve Towers. Along the sea belt, let's call it, there are the 2 bigger towers, which are high-end apartments, and I will show you an apartment for sale in one of the slides coming up. What's important to understand is that in front of all of these apartment buildings is reserved land. This is land that is protected by the government. You can never say that it will never be built on, but as we stand right now, this is protected land and there will be no building done in front of these buildings. And this particular tower is called the Reserve Tower. The land in front of it, in the top right-hand picture, you can see it's all open and it's sea sand. So you're always going to have an open view. These apartments are slightly larger, 144 square meters built with nice sized balconies of 30 square meters. There are, I think, 26 floors or 24 floors in this particular building. It obviously has elevators, it's got a parking, each apartment has got a master bedroom, full sea view. What's nice about this particular project is that within the building, you have a swimming pool, you have a gym, and you have a shul as well, a Beit Knesset. So people that are coming over on vacation have got everything within one building, and people that are living there as well, besides the fact that you can go out and you can meet friends in the environment and in the community, you've also got it in-house, which has its advantages. This particular apartment is situated on the 4th floor, and pricing-wise is roughly around about the 5 million mark. And this particular apartment as well would include the furniture. So what you see in the pictures is what you would basically be getting. So that's the Reserve Towers.
I live there.
It's a very, very, very nice project.
That's a nice perk to moving in, is that you can be neighbors with Risa.
There you go. There are 3 buildings, and you would
Correct.
think that 3 big buildings would have nothing to do with each other. They're connected by
Common walkway.
big walkways, hallways, and we have an Anglo WhatsApp chat just from the Reserve buildings, and I think there's over 40 women that are constantly on this. So it's a very tight knit, and there's also a community room, like a room that you can have business meetings in, and it's very nice. It's amazing, actually.
Okay, so we were talking about North Netanya and about the new development that's going to be happening in the north of Netanya. So this particular project over here is actually, they've just received the authorizations to start their build. If you look at the first picture and you see the let's call it the base of this particular building, that is an existing hotel that is scheduled to be destroyed, and they are building a new hotel. And on top of that, they're going to be building 34 floors of residential apartments. These apartments vary from 132 square meters up to roughly 160 square meters, balconies from 24 to 42. There are 2 buildings per wing. So you've got 2 in the front and 2 at the back. Master bedroom, sea view from every single apartment. You have the front facing, and then you have the wings as well, which you can get a full sea view. It has a swimming pool, it has a gym, and it has hotel services. Because of the hotel underneath, basically the residential services above it can have things like room service, laundry services, etc., etc. Now the pricing here starts around about the 6.5 million, and it goes all the way up to 8.5 for the regular apartments. The penthouses, they're talking about 20 to 25 million. The beauty about this particular project is it will only be ready in 4 to 4.5 years. So the payment structure here is 20% on signing, and the balance of the payment 3 months before you get the key, which is in about 4.5 years' time. And for the first 2 years, it's not linked to the building index, which basically means that the developers are financing the project for you for the first 2 years. And the bulk of the payment only needs to be done when the apartments are ready. Now, in general, when you're buying off plan from the developers, you're getting a premium of 15 to 20% discount. What this basically means is when you get your keys, these apartments are going to be worth 15 to 20% more, which means that anybody who needs to take a mortgage would not have too much of a problem getting the mortgage in this particular instance. Now, this new area that they're building in the north of Netanya, the underlying concept is that the municipality is looking to regenerate and rebuild the center of Netanya. It's getting old, it needs refurbishment. So what they've decided to do is to move all of the municipal buildings out of the center, the Smolenski Street area, VAT, income tax building, the municipality itself. They're all moving to the north of Netanya. And between those buildings and this particular project, there's going to be, I think it's a 30 dunam park with restaurants, as you explained, the piano and all of that is going to be within that complex, which links up to these buildings. So you're talking about a community 5 to 10 years down the line, but that's what's moving north so that the center of Netanya can be rejuvenated. And Rafi, if you can please move on to the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, this is an apartment on Ehud Manon. It is the Brigger Yam Apartments. You have two towers that are basically on the sea, first line to the sea, which is the Brigger Apartments. Behind it, you have Brigger Yam. If you have a look from the picture on the bottom left-hand side, that's the view from the balcony. You can basically have it's a clear sea view with the exception of the Brigger Towers in front. This was an apartment that was sold for 6.9 million. It's a 4-roomed apartment, completely renovated. Electrical, plumbing, flooring, you name it, everything was changed. It's 158 square meters in size, a 25 square meter balcony, 2 elevators, 2 parking spots. It's on the 8th floor. So you've got open views on 2 sides, on the south and on the north, where you see the sea unobstructed. Beautiful master bedroom of 35 square meters. And it was also fully furnished. Everything that you see in the pictures came with the apartment. And within the complex as well, you've got a swimming pool, you've got a gym, and you've got a synagogue. So this is the higher end. This is Brigger, which is one of the better Kablanim and one of the better developers. So for these type of apartments, you're looking at around about the 7 million shekel mark to get this particular product. Rafi, next if we have, please. Okay, we've done this one, we've done this one.
Sorry, I just...
Now go one back. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Now this is Brigger, which is the first line to the sea. If you look at the picture from the balcony, no obstructions. This particular apartment is on the 29th floor. So it doesn't matter in which direction you're looking, all you can see is the ocean. The second picture is the view looking down at the swimming pool, which is part of the complex. So you can see in front of it the brownish area that is the reserve land. That's land that will not be developed. This is a very, very, very high-end apartment, very, very well renovated. 145 square meters, 25 square meter balcony. It's got the elevator, underground parkings, master bedroom, swimming pool, sea view. It's the identical product to the apartment that we saw before, but there we were looking at a 7 million shekel price tag, where here you're looking at a 9 million price tag. So that's the difference of first line to the sea and second line to the sea. Now the last one that I want to show you is rental apartments. A lot of people are thinking about making Aliyah, coming to Netanya, and they're not ready to buy. They'd like to live in the community, they'd like to enjoy the community, but they either don't have the funds or they're not completely secure on which area they'd like to be living in Netanya, so they think about renting. So here we have a 4-roomed apartment, 115 square meters, a 12 square meter balcony with everything that's needed, elevator, parking, the master bedroom. You've got a sea view, as you can see. There's a swimming pool, there's a 4th floor. This particular apartment, they were asking 5,500 a year ago. The price has now gone up to 6,500. That's just to give you an idea of how property has changed in the last year. But this is the type of apartment that you could easily find for 7,000 to 7,500. If you think about the 2 previous slides that I showed you for the Yam apartments, there you would be looking at rental prices from 14,000 to 18,000 shekels a month. Now, something that's very, very important to understand is that rental prices do not include rates and taxes, do not include building taxes, and obviously electricity and water as well are on the renters, not on the owners. So when you hear a rental price, that is clean rental. You need to add on all of the utilities over and above that. So this just gives you an example of what these type of apartments would go for rent. And that basically is just a small touch of what is available. Doesn't really relate only to Netanya. Whether you're looking around Jerusalem, Modi'in, wherever it is, everybody's needs are specific. Everybody's needs are different. So we would need to understand exactly what your needs are, apply that to your budget, and then find you specific properties that are basically suitable to your needs. But this gives you a general idea of what you're looking at, the types of apartments that they are, the prices that they're going for. Our panelists have explained more or less what the communities have to offer. So I'm hoping that this information basically has answered some of the questions that you may have as to what is Netanya and where can I live.
Great, thank you, Dion. And we'll get to some of the questions now. I'm just going to put our contact information here. And if you want to reach out to any of the residents, then let me know and I can share the contact information with you as well. One thing that we just wanted to mention, one of the challenges of moving to a new place is dealing with the headaches, the nightmare of the utilities. It's something that we do time and time again for Olim and for Anglos. And so we just wanted to make the transition a little easier. I'm sorry? Oh, I just wanted to make the transition a little easier here. If you decide to rent or buy as a result of this webinar, then let us know and we will take over that for you. We'll take care of that for you. We'll just help you, almost like a welcome to Netanya kind of a little perk, a little benefit. So just something to keep in mind that hopefully will make the move a little easier for you. Okay, so let's turn to the questions here. One of the questions I saw here was talking about the work environment, the working opportunity. Do you find that a lot of people in Netanya who are not retired, people who are still living, do they typically work in Netanya, or a lot of people commuting to Tel Aviv and other cities throughout the country?
I work in Netanya. I'm a psychotherapist and I have a private practice. I work from home. So I do work in Netanya.
Okay.
The public transportation is incredible. So you've got the trains going to Tel Aviv, Herzliya, Jerusalem, anywhere. Even if you did have to travel out of town.
Okay, great. There's a question here also about learning opportunities for seniors, senior kollels, shiurim. Can you talk a little bit about that and just give people a taste of what's available?
Well, certainly here in North Netanya, there's a very active shul that has shiurim on a regular basis. The rabbi gives shiurim. There are rabbonim that give shiurim that are members of the shul on Zoom. There's lots of opportunities to learn. There really is lots of opportunities, and also there's opportunities for women as well. It's not just about men. Right. There are opportunities for women.
Same with South Netanya. It's really incredible. Really wonderful.
Matan has just come and started their programs in Ir Yamim, which
What's
is
Matan? Just explain it to
Matan
you.
is a women's seminary that comes from Jerusalem, and they have branches in different parts all around Israel, and they're very well known for just very high level, incredible speakers, very interesting, and it's drawing a very nice crowd. So the opportunities are endless. And like you say, within the shuls, there are women and men come to different shiurim. Some are just for men, some are just for women. Interesting things, tefillah, current things. It's really endless.
Right. It really is.
Okay. Some people asked about prices, and I think, again, it depends on the size and how close you are, proximity to the sea. And so that's where, Dion would be able to really give you specific prices based on what's available, based on what you're looking for. So, I don't think we can go into more specifics here, but again, I would encourage you to talk to Dion. Somebody asked about AICI. So it's an organization that's been around for a long time, really focused on providing support and resources to people who are making Aliyah. I think initially it was from North America, but now I think it's expanded. It's in a lot of cities, they don't play as an active a role as they had in the past, but I think in Netanya specifically,
Very,
it still is very active, right?
right,
Yes,
right.
very
They have,
Netanya.
Susan, you can talk more about that, yeah?
There's all sorts going on the AACI here in North Netanya. I think it's the biggest I think it's the biggest membership actually in Israel, the North Netanya. And it's at the moment it's headed by two very vibrant women who are very close friends of mine, and they're doing very dynamic things with it, offering shiurim, offering lectures, offering an ulpan, offering trips. There's all sorts going on there for all age groups.
Drama, choir, they have a library, a whole English library. I mean, it's really incredible.
Concerts.
Lots of
Yes.
concerts.
And don't forget the food. I think, that's one of the
Yes.
things that really, Rabbi, if you want to tell everybody where your restaurant is, they can come and visit you, let them know where it is.
I didn't know I was allowed to advertise.
Yeah, of course, of course.
I will, excuse me, I will be glad to see all the attendants to come and visit, and they will have a very big welcome when they come to make Aliyah.
So where is it?
Where is it located?
It's in downtown Netanya, Tel Chai #1. It's a small walking street, and it's a lot of culture in this street. They do a gallery with promoting young artists, and now we are extending our terrace in opposite the street, where we are thinking of doing an Asian looking terrace with a lot of culture, a lot of music, a lot of events coming, Bezrat Hashem, in summertime after Pesach.
So it's #1 Tel Chai.
Tel Chai #1. It's between
And what is the name of the restaurant?
Viet Ta'am.
Nice.
Yeah, cute.
One thing that
Yeah.
struck me in that area and in downtown and elsewhere, because we're such an international city, it's not like other cities where you may see the same chain stores and whatever. You see nice boutiques from France,
Yes,
from all
yes.
different places, and
Right.
it's a very culturally rich and intriguing city.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned about the different artists. You walk in North Netanya on the boardwalk, and gardens and sculptures and artists have little shops, and it's very unique. It's for a seaside city.
But you can say this is Israel. Everything is unique and everything is a
Right.
miracle in this country.
And from where
Good.
I live on Shlomo Melech, it's about a 15-minute walk into the center. So it's very accessible.
Right.
It's a
Same
very,
with us. It's a 15-minute
we
walk. It's
have-
amazing.
we
Yeah.
have the most
And we have IKEA.
Yes. And we
Okay.
have
Wonderful.
Osherad, which is kind of like a Costco.
That's a big
Right.
selling point.
We have a lot of
Maybe-
shopping.
maybe we can build a new shul,
of
and I would
shopping
be
in
glad to be your
North
rabbi.
There you go. There you go. Okay, well, I think time's up. So I want to thank all of you for joining us tonight. Thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge of the city, and I hope everybody who has joined us tonight found it useful. Just wanted to let you know that we are planning a trip to the U.S. Olim Advisors and Dion with Israel Prop, probably in May, where we want to come to some of the communities and actually talk to you about making Aliyah, talk to you about properties in Israel. And so just be on the lookout for details. Bezrat Hashem, in the next few weeks, we will share that with everybody. And just look out for more webinars. It's our pleasure to really educate and inform people. And if we can help you make Aliyah and settle in Israel happily, then Baruch Hashem, that's what it's all about.
Thank
So
you.
have a Shavua Tov, everyone. Have a great week. Be well. Talk to you soon.
And we'll be
Take
in
care.
touch.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.